guys, welcome back to my channel. So I am exactly 6 weeks postpartum today. The baby is 6 weeks old. You can probably hear him crying in the back. He's hanging out with daddy downstairs. Let's start with my recovery process and an update. So I went for my 6 weeks postpartum appointment checkup on Thursday. Today is Sunday. Everything checked out great down there. She said I was completely healed. I was cleared for sex. I was cleared for exercising and, getting into a workout routine. She said everything inside and outside looks good, which was relieving to hear. I feel great. I've honestly felt great in myself for the past 3 weeks. To be honest, I feel very lucky. My recovery process was very fast. I felt great after maybe 2.5 weeks. The soreness down there went away. The bleeding really kind of stopped, but I'll get into that in a little bit. Let's go over the symptoms that I had during my pregnancy and where they are now. So I am happy to report that I am now feeling my hand again, because if you followed me on my pregnancy journey, I talked about how my fingers on my right hand went numb for the last maybe 2 months of my pregnancy. So I am so excited to have feeling to my fingers again. They're a tiny bit numb or just a little bit tingly towards the tip, but I'm just glad that I can use them again and feel what I'm touching. Because before, when they were so numb, if I touch my own skin or if I touch the baby, I wouldn't be able to feel anything with these 3 fingers. And it was just really worrisome, but I'm happy that the numbness went away. My tailbone pain has completely gone. I can sit on a hard surface for hours now and not have that tailbone pain. I can roll around in bed without groaning and moaning. I did have this weird lower back pain on my right side the last week of pregnancy, and it lasted for about 3 weeks postpartum. So every time I took a step on my right foot, I would have this shooting pain up my back on the right side, and it was excruciating to say the least, because I had to go up and down the stairs, I had to rock the baby. So every time I took a step on my right side, it would be really painful to the point where I was limping, so that I wouldn't have to put so much pressure on that right foot. But it went away, thank goodness. So the tailbone pain and the back pain has completely subsided and is gone. It's so crazy to me that all the symptoms that you experience all throughout your pregnancy goes away right after you give birth. Well, not right after, but like a week or 2 after. So everything that I was experiencing for 9 months just completely disappeared, and nothing ever happened, which I'm thankful for, because that acid reflux was getting pretty bad at the end. Oh, I forgot another symptom that kind of went away but annoyingly kind of lingering itself is my puffiness and the swelling. My puffiness has gone down a lot. If you go back and look at my last video when I was still pregnant, I was so puffy. I remember that I couldn't even speak without my tongue getting caught between my teeth because my mouth was so puffy. So the puffiness in my face has drastically gone down. Thank God. I feel a little bit more like myself now that my cheeks have depuffed. My double chin is still there, but it's slowly going away. The swelling in my hands have gotten a lot better. I still can't fit into my engagement ring and my wedding band. I literally try on both rings every day and hoping that that day is a day that I can fit into them again. But sadly, no, they are still a little bit too tight to wear comfortably. So I'm still wearing the Swarovski band that I've been wearing all throughout my pregnancy, which is fine, but I just really miss my engagement ring, and I really miss my wedding band. I feel like it's not the same without them. Otherwise, the puffiness and this swollenness has gone down so much, which is nice, because I was starting to look like a balloon towards the end of my pregnancy. It was not a cute look. So let's talk about the nether regions down there, because obviously that's the area that we are most concerned when we are pregnant and about to give birth, because that is where the baby's coming out, obviously. So if you watch my birth story, which I'll have linked down below, I kind of touched on the fact that I did tear down there when I was pushing the baby out, obviously. And now there are, I think, 3 degrees of tearing. There's first, second, and third. And the third is where you don't want to be, because that's where the tearing reaches your anus, which I can't even comprehend that kind of tear. I think I have first degree, I don't even know, 1.5 degree is even a thing, but I think I'm between a first and second degree tear, where I did need stitches, and I don't know why the doctor phrased it this way, but when I asked her, like, did I tear? She's like, oh yeah, you tore yourself up. So in my head, I'm thinking, oh shit, I have a 3rd-degree tear. It's reached my butthole. This recovery process is gonna be terrible. But it wasn't. She said because it's a running stitch, they really don't count how many stitches. They just stitch you up down there. And the stitches weren't so bad when it was being done because I was in my golden hour with the baby. So I had the baby on my chest. I was bonding with him. I was breastfeeding, and all of this while the doctor was sewing me up. And it only hurt when she hit a spot that she didn't numb yet, and I would kind of jerk or say, ow, that hurts, and she would numb me up again. So healing down there wasn't bad. That was something that I was definitely very, very nervous about. Just the recovery process. Just peeing hurt. I'm so nervous about my first pee and my first poop. But let me tell you, I had my first pee within an hour and a half after giving birth, and it was fine. It burned a little bit, obviously, because it's ripped down there and you have stitches and things are pretty tight and loose and not looking its best down there. But the first pee was fine. Again, it stung a little and then it was over with. My first poop felt like a normal poop. I was obviously very slow during the process, if you know what I mean. I took it very gently and slowly and made sure I didn't push too hard, but honestly it was fine. I pooped, I wiped, and it was fine, and it just felt like a normal poop. I just had to be a little bit more careful about it. So I feel like I healed pretty fast down there. It's just a little bit tight because when she did the cervical exam and she put the freaking, you know, duct thing in there to spread it out down there, that hurt like a bitch. Otherwise, I feel normal. Obviously, it's gonna be a little bit sore, a little bit tight. We haven't had sex yet. I don't know if I'm ready yet, to be honest. My bleeding only lasted about 2.5 weeks to 3 weeks. The first week, week and a half was when the heavy bleeding happened, which is to be expected. I didn't get huge clots. I had some very minor little clots. They said if you have anything bigger than like a golf ball size, then you need to go in and get it checked out because that's too much clotting. So the bleeding honestly wasn't too bad. It was just rough the first 2 weeks. Like every time I peed, I have to do like a whole pad change, which I'll get into, like how to prepare your pad. But other than that, it was fine. And then after like 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, I just had a little bit of spotting here and there, but nothing like the first week where I was like gushing out blood every time I peed, or if I walked, or if I like coughed, it would come out. It was fine after 3 weeks. Breastfeeding is going great. I am exclusively breastfeeding right now. I have pumped a few times just to start my milk stash in the freezer, and that's been fine. He's been breastfeeding great. We did have a couple of like weeks of really bad latching issues. I don't know why, because he did great the first 2 weeks, but then like week 3 to 4 he couldn't latch, and it would take us like 20 minutes to get him to latch, and he would get frustrated. I would get frustrated because he's screaming, crying, he's hungry, and I can't get him the food that he needs because he's not latching on. He'll start sucking on the boob, get a latch, and fall off, and then it would be like 20 minutes of sheer frustration on both our parts that he couldn't get a good latch. But thankfully that problem went away on its own. He's latching fine on both boobs. I'm really happy that my milk supply is like amazing. I'm very, very grateful. I don't take it for granted because I hear other people's stories about how they can't breastfeed, they don't produce milk, they take like all these supplements and eat all these brownies and do everything they can to get a good milk supply for their baby, but they just can't. So I'm just very grateful that my milk supply is like, it's an overabundance of milk in here. It's to the point where he chokes sometimes because it comes out so much and so quick at one time that he like chokes on it, which is really, really scary because I like just stare at him until he catches his breath again. But yeah, my milk supply is great. He feeds great, and I'm just really, really happy in that department because that was something I was really worried about when it came to like my mental health, whether I was going to be able to breastfeed or not, if I was going to be really sad and down if I wasn't able to breastfeed. But again, I'm not like against formula feeding or anything. I just really wanted to try breastfeeding for myself and to provide that for my baby if I could. So I'm really happy that I can. I have been engorged a few times, especially during the weeks that he couldn't latch. He would latch better on my left boob than on my right. So Some days my right boob was so engorged that like if I moved my arm like in a weird way, milk would come squirting out and I would just be leaking all over. Like literally I would look at my nipple and milk is just pouring out like Niagara Falls. So that's when I started to having to pump just to relieve the pressure and the pain and get that milk out until he can feed on that side again. But he nurses like pretty on the clock every 2 to 3 hours all throughout the day and through the night. So I've been pretty balanced and feeling okay in that area where I'm not engorged anymore. And I switch sides every time he feeds. So I feel like my boobs are pretty balanced. So I did want to touch on the whole mental health side of postpartum recovery because I think it's just as important as your physical recovery. If you are physically fine, but up here you're not you and you're not the same, I feel like that takes more of a toll. Like if you were super mentally healthy and you're happy and your whole mental health recovery is fine, but you're physically sore or whatever, like that's something different and expected. But if you're physically fine, but for some reason you're still sad, you're still, I don't know, worried and anxious, I feel like that takes more of a toll on your recovery. So I am relieved and happy to say that I did not experience any baby blues or any postpartum depression. I know that's not the case for everyone. It's very common for baby blues to occur, and it's very common for you to go through a little bit of postpartum depression after you give birth. I think because I was so prepared for the possibility of baby blues and the possibility of PPD that I was fine. Like my recovery process mentally has been fine because I was expecting the worst. So I did not have any baby blues. I never felt sad or anxious. I've honestly been so happy and so in love with this baby that I've just been normal. Like every time we take him to the doctors for his checkups or for my own checkups, they make you fill out this form to ask like, have you been happy? And you would say like, as happy as I've ever been. No, I'm not happy. And no, like I'm very not happy. Like it's the same questions over and over. You have to fill out this form every time you go into the doctors. They really want to make sure that you're okay mentally as well as physically, which I really appreciated because, you know, if I was going through baby blues or if I was going through postpartum depression, I would like to have the avenue and the, you know, opportunity to express that no, I'm not happy. And yes, I am worried that I may be depressed after giving birth. That was a really long-winded explanation, but I don't know. I feel like my tip to be mentally prepared for the postpartum recovery is just to be prepared. Read up on postpartum depression, read up on baby blues, figure out what the signs are so that if it does happen to you or if you do have these symptoms, you know exactly what it is and you're not scared of it. For me, I'm more of a prepare, I'm a what if person. So if I can get ready and prepare and read up and watch videos about the thing that I'm nervous or anxious about, that helps me face it so that when it happens to me, I'm not shocked, I'm not surprised, I'm not scared that this new thing is happening to me and I don't know how to deal with it. People are very open about postpartum depression these days. I feel like it's not a very taboo subject anymore, so you can find many sources on this one subject to prepare yourself because not everyone is as lucky as to not go through the baby blues or go through postpartum, and you don't know if it's going to happen to you. You could be so in love with your baby and so happy and you still get postpartum depression. It's just your hormones, it's just the way you process things. So I feel like if you're, the more prepared you are, the better off you'll be if it does happen to you. So that's how I've approached it, and that's something I would definitely recommend. I have not had any severe hair loss yet. That's another thing that I'm preparing myself for. I'm reading up on it, I'm watching videos about it because I'm very nervous about it. I think it's supposed to hit like 3 months, 4 months postpartum where you just lose a lot of your hair because all throughout your pregnancy you retain all your hair. I lost very little hair in my pregnancy. I used to lose like 20 to 30 to 50 strands of hair while I showered to losing no hair at all throughout the 9 months that I was pregnant, which was amazing. So obviously I have a very full head of hair right now because I shed so little now. But I know in a month or two, that's gonna change. Lose all the hair that you were supposed to lose in 9 months. So it's gonna look like a lot, it's gonna feel like a lot, and it's just gonna take some time to get your hormones back where you shed less hair. So far, no hair loss, but believe me, it's coming. I'm sure it'll be in a postpartum update the next time I talk to you. So before I go, let's talk my stomach area and my weight and how all that is going. So on Thursday when I went to the doctors, I weighed 144 pounds. I think my pre-pregnancy weight was 125 to 130. I was always fluctuating. So I'm about 15 pounds away from my pre-pregnancy weight. I'm not in a huge rush to get back to my pre-pregnancy weight, but I am looking forward to working out to just tone myself up again. I still feel a little bit self-conscious about my post-pregnancy body, not in like a shameful way. I honestly really just miss wearing anything other than leggings and t-shirts because I am still living in these airy leggings. I don't think I've worn jeans in a year. I'm not even joking. We were quarantined last March, which was when the obsession with the airy leggings started because I worked from home. We never went anywhere. So I lived in these leggings for over a year now. I don't fit in my jeans yet. I miss wearing just like jeans, a sweater, and like some flats. I am living in airy leggings, a t-shirt, a sweater, and my sneakers because I don't even fit in my flats anymore. My feet are still a little swollen. My siblings got me Chanel espadrilles for Christmas. I'm afraid to put my fat feet into them for like fear of ripping them or something. So I'm just kind of excited to be back to my pre-pregnancy weight so I can wear my clothes again and feel a little bit more like myself, because once I can fit into my jeans and wear my normal clothes, I feel like I will be a little bit more confident in my body. So let's show the stomach and what it looks like at 6 weeks postpartum. So I had to move the camera around because my battery died as I was trying to wrap up this video. Again, this is 6 weeks postpartum. It's still a little bit big, and this is what it looks like out of my leggings. Let me see if I can roll them down. So that's what the side looks like, and this is what the front looks like. Obviously, things are a little bit softer, a little bit more flabby, and you know, there's a little bit more roundness to them these days, but I'm hoping with a little bit of exercise and eating a little bit better, I can tone up this area and get it back to normal. I don't have any stretch marks on my stomach, which I honestly don't know how I lucked out in that department, because I now have stretch marks basically everywhere else. I have stretch marks under my boobs. I have them in between my thighs now, from like right up where my groin is all the way down to like my knees, like in my inner thighs. So that's fun. And I also have stretch marks like on my lower back where my butt is. So that's been a lot of fun. So this is what the stomach looks like. It's just a little bit softer, a little bit rounder, but I'm not too worried about it. I'm sure a little bit of exercise will help tone this area up. That is me at 6 weeks postpartum. I do miss my butt though. I miss how my butt used to look in leggings, but I'm hoping that'll come back as well. So I'm hoping this will go away and this will come back and even itself out. I think that's everything that I wanted to touch on. If you have any questions about my postpartum recovery, leave them down in the comment section below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.